Do you ever feel like you're wasting your time at the gym, always feeling fatigued and getting minimal results? I used to train 5 times a week, going through the exact same thing as you are, and I look like shit. But when I cut my workouts down, so I only trained twice a week, I started to see an exponential growth in my physique. But it wasn't just the amount of training that made me go from skinny to aesthetic, but it was especially when I changed my workout routine that the magic happens. But it wasn't just the amount of training that I did that made me go from skinny to aesthetic, but it was specifically when I changed my workout routine that the magic started to happen. And in this video, I'll show you the exact workout split and routine I used to go from skinny to aesthetic. So the first step to go from skinny to aesthetic is to train full body 2 to 3 times a week. The reason why we want to train at such a low frequency is because that we don't want to train like bodybuilders. Actually, because bodybuilders usually are on steroids, so they have the energy to train for like 6 to 5 times a week where they just smash their workouts. But usually, if you're just like me, you will start to feel fatigued on the 4th or on even the 3rd training that you do. So when I realized this, I started to take my training from a high volume to a low volume, but instead of just training the volume, I increased the intensity, because now that I didn't have to do 3 different chest exercises in one training, I suddenly had the energy to just go all out in just one of the exercises for each of the muscle groups. And that is exactly why that in each of our training sessions that we have, so let's say that you want to train 3 times a week because let's say you don't have sport other than, the gym. So if you don't have any other physical training, that's when you can do a little bit more on the higher volume end. So you can do 3 full body trainings a week, where you want to incorporate exercises that trains the 7 aesthetic muscles. But basically we want to do 6 exercises in each training, where we want to do a leg exercise at the end of the training. And then a secret technique I also do, which I learned from somebody called Greg O'Gallagher, is to train what's called the reverse pyramid training. The reverse pyramid training is basically where we do a heavy set first, and then we decrease the weight for each set so we can take more reps. So basically we go from training strength to also training hypertrophy in the same exercise. So what you want to do is that you do 3 sets. First set is where you do 4 to 6 reps. The next set you decrease the weight with around 16%. That means that you will be able to take 6 to 8 reps. And in the third set you will do the same thing, and then you will be able to take 8 to 10 reps. The reason why they want to do this is, as I said, is because that we both get the strength and we get hypertrophy. Because remember, if you don't get stronger, how would you get more muscle? That wouldn't make sense, right? So of course we have to train our strength as well. The mistake that most people do, that maybe you're doing right now, is that you only train for strength. So that would be doing a 5x5 workout, where you do only squat, bench press, shoulder presses, all of this. If you only do these heavy compound movements, you will never look aesthetic. You will just look more fat, muscular. And that's not what women are mostly attracted to. Of course, there are exceptions, but mostly women are attracted to the aesthetic physique. Furthermore, I would highly recommend you to subscribe to this channel, because it will make you get the Greek aesthetic god physique. Like if I could get the physique, then of course I can make you get the physique as well. Think about it, it's literally free content, bro. Like why wouldn't you just use 5 to 10 minutes a day watching this? Like literally that investment would be, having this aesthetic physique when you get a little bit older. Wouldn't that be great? Think about walking into the room and being the most confident guy in the room, and everybody just looks at you with fucking jealousy. That would be fucking insane, wouldn't it? So anyway, back to the video. So the step 2 is where I'm gonna show you now the exact exercises and workouts that I do every single weekend. So as I said, I focus on training the 7 most aesthetic muscles. So now I'll just say what the 7 aesthetic muscles is, because you can see it from the exercises. So I do an incline bench press movement in my first full body session. The reason why I do this is because, of course, the upper chest is one of the most aesthetic muscle groups. Then the second exercise that I will do is doing shrugs, because the upper traps is, according to a study, actually the most attractive muscle, or one of the most attractive muscle groups on a man, because it shows dominance and masculinity, which is what women of course are attracted to. The third exercise will be something for the lateral heads, so that's why we're doing something called the dumbbell high pull. I will show up the videos so you will see what the form is. The next exercise that I do is for the lats, where I do some kind of lat pull down or pull-ups. It depends on what I like to do. Sometimes I like to be more, what can you say, athletic, so that's when I do pull-ups, and sometimes I just want to focus on really feeling the muscle and doing drop sets. That's when I go to lat pull downs. The next exercise is the hammer curls with the dumbbells, because of course the biceps is also one of the most aesthetic muscle groups. Usually I want to mention that you should have an like an exercise for the abs. I have just trained my abs for like 2 to 3 years, so I don't really have to train it that much. So I only train it like in my night routine. But if you are currently starting out, or if you're still a beginner, you have to train your abs. The abs are not just made in the kitchen. I want you to understand that. Like, I hear so many people saying that bullshit. But think about it. The abs are a muscle. It's literally a muscle. So of course we have to fucking train the muscle to grow it bigger, right? So it can be shown. So I want you to focus on usually the lower abs, where you do some kind of leg raises, because usually our upper abs are overdeveloped. Or not overdeveloped, but they are better developed. So we don't really have to put so much focus onto it, because we already hit them when we're doing bicep curls, literally just stabilizing when doing exercises. And then the last exercise is, of course, a leg exercise. So here I used to do leg extensions. Right now I'm actually currently doing leg press, because I really like that exercise. But you can incorporate whatever leg exercise you want to do. Remember, this is just for inspiration. You can change it to whatever you like, as long as you just hit the 7 aesthetic muscle groups. Then if we take a look at my second upper body, full body workout, that's when I then, instead of focusing so much on the chest, I do a little bit more focus on the delts. So here I do a seated overhead press with dumbbells. Of course it still hits the upper chest, but it's not as much as an incline pressing movement. Then I will do shrugs again. The reason why I do shrugs 2 times a week is because it's a lacking muscle group of mine. Actually, no, that's not even true. Like, you have to do 2 times a week for every muscle. Like the lateral delts, the upper chest, you have to hit it 2 times a week. But of course I don't do 2 incline movements for my upper chest. I just do an incline movement and then I do a overhead press. Like, can you see how we can combine these things? So the third exercise that I do is doing cable flies from low to high. The reason why I do this is because my upper chest are a little bit lagging right now. That's why I do so much training for my upper chest. Then the fourth exercise is chest fly. I have a little bit of asymmetry with my left and right chest. That is just to say that that's why I have incorporated that one. Then the fifth exercise is something for my rear delts. That is the reverse fly. And then the sixth exercise is again a leg movement. Here I choose to do squat. You can again choose it to whatever you like the best. And if you want to make these kind of programs, or if you want to download my program, then you can just go down into the link and then you can just get it for free. So the step 3 that I want to talk to you about is actually to switch your exercises from every now and then. So the thing is, something that we do at the gym is that we will hit a plateau at some point. Usually when you hit a plateau, it's between 4 or actually 6 to 8 weeks. It's between that time. It can also be 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on the person, at least a month. So when we hit a plateau, it's a good idea actually to go from for example, a machine to a barbell or doing dumbbells. So right now, what could you think that could be as an example? If you thought about it could be doing, instead of dumbbell bench press, to go to barbell bench press, then you are correct. We just want to switch up what kind of equipment that we are using. The reason why this is so important and so useful is because it kind of shocks the muscle. Like, you've probably heard this term before, that we want to shock our muscle. The reason why it shocks our muscle is because it's a total different technique that we gotta do, and it gives a different stretch. Imagine doing a flat dumbbell press and a flat barbell bench press. The stretch and the contraction is completely different. The whole movement is different. So of course, it will also shock the muscle, which will lead to more muscle growth. The last thing that I want to say is that, of course, if you keep hitting PRs, there's no reason to change. So if you enjoyed these kind of videos, then I will highly recommend you to watch this one as well. And one last thing that I want to say is that if you want to be coached for free, then just write down a comment in the section and we will figure something out. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day, bro.